Hello and welcome back to Steaming with Steve. Today we're going to go through how interfaces work, and then we're also going to have a little look at different user experiences with virtual reality worlds and so on. So let's jump on in. So we're going to look at interfaces, experiences, and the virtual world that exists at the moment. So to start, let's have a look. The learning intentions for today is to understand the roles and purposes of UI in enhancing UX. So UI means user interfaces in enhancing user experiences. To identify the function and non-functional requirements of UI, and explore some concepts of AR, MR, and VR. So AR, augmented reality. So that's where you look through an iPad and can see different things happening in the world that's not actually real. Then mixed reality, which is a combination between VR and AR. And then VR, which is obviously the virtual reality with the headsets on. We're then going to analyze the real-world applications of UI and UX. And then you can have a look at Airbnb, Duolingo, and Slack for some examples. So why is UI important? Well, UI basically, if you have a well-designed UI, it increases the website's conversion by up to 200%. So if you use the interfaces all over the show, when someone interacts with your program, either a game or a website, you're doing yourself a huge disservice because people will not want to use it anymore. So we're going to go through. Basically, now we're going to go understand what is UI and what does it mean. So UI is short for, like I just said before, user interface. So it is a way for the user to interact with a computer program. So things that this can include are the buttons that you can click, the text that you read, even the text fields that you can type into. And then there's a nice little example there from Erlich Bachman. So what are some of the good features of UI? Well, we want to have clarity. We want to have consistency. We want simplicity. We also want efficiency so that people can use it quite well. And then feedback and responsiveness. You also want to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing so people watching it can understand what has to happen. The accessibility, any errors handling and how that sort of looks. Some help and documentation so other people can pick it up and understand what needs to happen. And then flexibility and customization. So can people change it around so that it matches more their needs? So what does UX mean? Well, UX is short for user experience. So it's slightly different as to how it means for the different people experiencing those different systems. So this is how easy or pleasing it is to use. So what are some good features of UX? Is that it's intuitive, user-centric, seamless, engaging, accessible, adaptive, and that it's consistent, efficient, responsive, empathic, satisfying, and then also informative. So by having all these qualities inside of your user experience, it's going to make you more likely to convert. So UI is the tool, whereas UX is describing more the experience that you have. And there's a pretty cool picture of it. So like I said, UX is talking about the experience, whereas UI is actually how you put all those pieces together in the puzzle. So this is one of those interesting websites that you can see out there that might not be so good. And the reason for that is there's a couple of things. So just pause the video, have a look, and try and think what might not be so good in this. Awesome. So what you should have thought about is the background is a bit distracting. The image is okay-ish, but it's a little bit low quality. It's using blue all the way through, so the website and the email address links don't sort of stand out. And then it's got the click here. There's just a few things that could be tidied up in this website. Then here's another one. So just pause the video, have a look. So hopefully you've had a look at that and you can just see that it's just so overwhelming. There's a whole heap of colors that are all over the show, so then you're not quite sure what's what. And yeah, basically it's not as ideal. Also, all the information, there's so much information here that's too hard to sort of get unpackaged what goes where. And yeah, there's just a lot of different colors, different not contrasting colors. Yeah, a lot. So when we do good user interfaces, we need to think about how does the person interact with it. So even though this is okay-ish, by having simple things like putting little emojis next to the words or having some sort of progress bar up the top can change significantly the experience for someone. Even having the little tick boxes on the side here, and then also the continue button down the bottom instead of having next up the top. Because if you think of a mobile phone, the buttons are usually down near where your finger is, not up the top there. So think back to some of the early lessons that we had on basic computing. How do interfaces make the technology more user-friendly? So some things that I came up with The intuitive navigation, so it makes it a bit more easier for someone rather than having to know commands and typing them in. The simplicity. There's clear communication between what needs to happen. There's engaging aesthetics. The responsive and quick feedback that you get because you can see instantaneously what's happening. The consistency, so it's always the same thing in each time. So if you want to close down a menu on Windows, you know that's up in the top right. The accessibility. The error handling and guidance is handled all behind the things that makes it nice and user-friendly. And the personalization, and then lastly, the emotional design. So has it used the right colors, the right font, all those different things that happen inside the user interface that makes it user-friendly. So we've got a little example here. I want to have a go. Build Frosted Delights. So you're tasked with designing a UI for a new mobile phone app called Frosted Delights, new popular ice cream shop. The app's main function is to order ice cream and pay online. So ensure that your design is visually appealing and efficient. Your app will be across 3 separate screens. So the first one will have a welcome screen. So you want to design an engaging welcome screen that reflects the brand's playful and delicious nature. You want to include a menu or selection area where users can browse different flavors and all types of ice cream, and consider how the users are going to select their favorite flavors and also the quantities that they're going to choose. You're then going to have the add-ons. So these are the where they can put on different toppings, the cones, or any special requests. You then want to ensure the design is intuitive and make sure that the process of adding and removing items is straightforward. And then lastly, obviously we want to get paid. So design what the interface looks like when you get paid at the end, and then include fields for payment information and options for online payment methods. And then lastly, ensure the design provides a summary of the order and clear call to action for payment and confirmation of order once it's done. So have a go at that. Just pause the video. You can either hand draw it, you can use PyQt if you want, or even just something like a Word document or a PowerPoint just to put something together and play around with it. You can post images of what you did down below. That'd be really cool because that does give some inspiration for others having a go at this course. So then there's 3 different types of realities that we need to unpackage. So that we've also talked about this. So moving into the future, there's now AR. So that's augmented reality, which adds into the reality that you're dealing with. There's then VR, which is virtual reality, which then creates a new world that you're totally interacting in and immersed in. And then lastly, there's mixed reality, which then sort of connects both the worlds. So you can see stuff in the real world, but then you've also got the headset on and sort of interacting in that space. Cool little video there that I've got put down in the links. Have a look through that and that gives you some ideas to have a think about. So some conclusion questions to think about. How can principles of UX and UI be applied to improve familiar technology in the app that you use daily? Imagine a future technology and how might its UI and UX differs from today, because it's obviously going to evolve, and reflect on today's lessons and think about what's the most surprising aspect of UI and UX that you learnt about. There is a quick little Kahoot there to play around with. And yeah, there's a little homework as well. Have a review of the Yale's website, which is quite interesting how they do it. It's quite engaging, but then there's also some things that might be needed to be improved. That's it for me. Hopefully that's given you a quick overview of UI and the difference between UI and UX, and then also the 3 new technologies that are coming out. Now, it's really important that you understand how these work, and then how can you maximize them to make a really cool experience for you, the people out there. If you do have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. And if you do make your own Frosty design, please put a picture of it as well. I really would love to see it and sort of see how that sort of looks. And yeah, that's it from me. If you can give us a help out here by liking and subscribing this video, it does help with the YouTube algorithm, trying to get the message out there that Python can be taught to anyone. And yeah, that's it from me. Thanks again. See you again next time on Steam with Steve. Adios.